All right, guys, we have 2 worksheets to get through today. Let's see if we can make it through all the way through both of them, okay? First worksheet is called Bus Busted. Bus Busted. That's probably better, right? Okay. When taking students on an extracurricular road trips, the school typically pays $450 to rent a bus using Regal Charter Service. However, the school secretary decides to call a competitor to see if their rates are better. Here's what the representative from Fly By Night Rentals has to say. Regal charges a flat fee, but think about the cost per student. With Regal, if only 4 students go on the trip, that's $450 divided by 4, which is $112.50 per student. In this case, Fly By Night would only charge $78 per student. Think of the savings! But what about large groups? With 54 students, you'd still be paying $450 divided by 54, which is $8.33 per student with Regal. With us, 54 students is only $3 per student. Can you believe it? It's all because we use a linear model to determine the price per student. It just makes sense. Of course, you have to take between 4 and 54 students on the trip, but that's no big deal. So can we count on your business? Sometimes salespeople are creepy. I'm sure there's some great salespeople out there that aren't creepy, but you know who I'm talking about. Okay? First thing we need to do is figure out how much Regal charges and how much Fly By Night charges. By possibly determining a function rule, or do you want to complete the tables first? Do you think you have enough information to complete the tables? Do you think you have enough information to find an equation for each one of them? Okay, maybe is not a good answer, but thanks for trying. How did they say Regal is figuring out their prices? $450 by however many people are going. Is that what you said? Well, isn't that an equation? $450 divided by however many people are going. Right? $450 divided by how many people are going. Is that an equation? In order for it to be an equation, it has to have an equal sign. Does it have an equal sign? Now what does it equal so it can be an equation? Why? Okay. So clearly if we have an equation, we can totally get the rest of the table, can't we? Okay. So what are you guys doing right now? I see a bunch of number pushing. Oh, are you actually plugging in the 15 for x and then the 30 for x, 45 for x? Okay, tell me what you got then. 30, 15, well that makes sense because of that one, right? And 10. Okay. What about Fly By Night? How do they get their prices? Creepy sales lady gives us a hint. It's a linear model, isn't it? How many points do you need to make the equation of a line? 2. Do we have 2 points? Even just in the table we have 2 points, right? So can we do... Wait, how do we find slope? Who did their video on slope? How do we find it? So we can use the formula, y2 minus 1 over x2 minus x1, or we can just think in our head about delta y delta x, right? Change in y over change in x. So what's the change from 78 to 3? 75. What's the change from 4 to 54? So it's 75 divided by negative 50. negative 1.5. So what is that again? So that's our slope, right? So I know I've got to have my x multiplier with that particular term. Is that it? Is that my whole equation? I got to figure out the y-intercept, don't I? How could I figure that out? I could use one of the points that I was given, right? Put in an x and a y into y equals mx plus b. Knowing what the slope is and knowing what x and y are, won't that help me get b? Should we do that real quick? Because some of you are thinking or acting like you don't remember that. That's what we have so far, right? And we know an x and a y is x is 4 and y is 78. So if I put a 4 there and a 78 there, I get 78 equals, what's 1.5 times 4? So if I add 6 to both sides, b equals 84. So is that an equation? No, what am I lacking? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, it doesn't have an equal sign. There we go. Sketch the graphs of these relationships on the grid to the left. So how do I graph y equals negative 1.5x plus 84? Oh, sorry, tell me what the table is. I know several of you filled this in. 6150, 39, 16.50. So we have a couple different options. What's one of our options? Can I just plot the points for my table? Yes, of course I could. Excellent. Good job. Okay, so let's plot this one in red. I'm going to plot this one in red. I don't know if you can tell it up there, but I can tell on my screen. So 4 over 4 up 112. So that may be right there-ish. Over 15 up 30. Over 30 up 15. Over 54 up 8. Can you tell that's a curve? Yes? What kind of function is it? A rational function. Very good. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and draw that in. Now it is only one part of the rational function, right? The other part's down here somewhere. But I don't care about that because we're only talking about positive values, right? Money and people. Most of the time there's not such thing as negative people. No, I don't want to talk about zombies. That's different. Okay? So now let's plot the line. I'm going to plot it in blue. X is 4, Y is 78. X is 15, Y is 6150. X is 30, Y is 39. X is 40. Oh, I totally skipped 45 over there. Sorry. X is 45. Y is 16. 50 and X is 54. Y is 3. It's not bad. Oops. Okay, you have yours plotted? All right, is it similar to mine? Good. Treat these equations like a system and solve it. How do you want to solve this? You want to use your graph? Okay, let's use our graphing calculator. I'm going to create a new document on mine so I don't have to worry about the other stuff that might be in there. And put 450 over x for one of my equations. And then my other equation, I'm going to put in y equals negative 1.5x plus 84. Okay, so this is what I did. And this crazy kid earlier was like, mine's not working. Okay, please don't automatically assume that when you put something in and nothing shows up that you did something wrong. Okay, I'm trying to help you build your confidence here, right? Clearly, my window is not the same as the window that's given in this graph, is it? So let's do menu, window, and let's look at the window settings. What window settings should I have if I want it to look like this one? What x values should I have? So 0 to 55. Whoops. How about if I do menu window again because I accidentally hit enter. Tab, 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 tab. Let's go 0 to 120. Is that good? Wow. I'm an excellent artist. Look at that. So what am I trying to find? Intersection, menu, analyze, the intersection. First, I want to look at this one right here. And that says 675. And then I want to do it again. Menu, analyze the graph to look at the intersection. I want to go look at this one way over here. And that says 59. Did you get the same thing? Okay. What are those points of intersection? What do the solutions tell you about when fly-by-night is a better deal? First of all, before you answer that question, because several of you are trying and I appreciate that, but let me ask you one question first. What does this point mean? Write a sentence to tell me, or say a sentence to tell me what that point means. When there are 6 students, the cost per student would be $75, right? What would this one mean? Okay. When there's 50 students, they both cost $9 per student, right? Okay. Now remember, fly-by-night is the line. Fly-by-night is basically saying Regal is horrible, right? They charge way too much. But when is fly-by-night a better deal? You have to take 4 to 54 students. That's a requirement of both companies, right? So this line is cheaper, right? From 4 students until 6 students. So if you take 4, 5, or 6 students, is there any other time where it's cheaper? Where the line is below the curve? Over here, 50, 50, 51, 52, 53, or 54 students. What's true? Fly-by-night is a better deal. For the most part, however, what? Regal's the better deal, isn't it? Okay? And if you want to get really picky, and we do, those two almost don't count, do they? Because they cost the same for both companies, don't they? So it's really only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different ways that fly-by-night's a better deal. Okay? Questions? So what was the purpose of that worksheet? Hey, let's do a worksheet. Is that what I wanted to do? What were some of the conversations that we had that were important on this worksheet? Looking at the questions, looking at the points of intersection, being able to read what a point meant from the graph. It's not just a point anymore. It has a meaning because it is in a word problem, right? Any questions about this one? Okay. What you need to know about the second worksheet that we're doing is this is one of my very favorite worksheets to teach. And you'll see why in just a second. Okay? The parachutist called from her cell phone. Hey, Walter! You'll never guess where I am. I'm parachuting down over your neighborhood. Even though I'm descending at a constant rate of 4.8 feet per second, I'm afraid my landing will be a little rough. So do me a favor. Go and get on your roof. And when you see me pass over you, throw me a pillow. Okay? So it's very obvious that we're having to suspend our disbelief on this worksheet, right? In more ways than you even know. Let's look at the picture for a moment. Does anyone else besides me notice that Walter is as tall as his house? Look at him. Look how tall he is and compare it with the height of the house. He's even bending the roof some, it looks like. And then the pillow that he threw is as big as the girl. So I guess it could be a body pillow. Okay? It gets better. You ready? When Walter saw her, the parachutist was 40.6 feet above the ground. He threw the pillow with an initial upward velocity of 40 feet per second. Can you throw a pillow at 40 feet per second? So he's the giant, strongest man in the world, throwing a body pillow at his friend who is clearly a pansy. Okay? So how about if we mostly focus on the math instead of the context of the problem? Even though the context is important, it's a little hard to believe. Not saying it could never happen. They give us the equation for the path of the pillow. Okay? And they make it very clear for us that x is the time in seconds since the pillow's release. Okay? The parachutist, oh, here's the best part. The parachutist missed the pillow as it went up, but caught it on its way down. So again, we're suspending our disbelief because the pillow didn't actually hit the parachute or get tangled in any of the rope, the lines that's holding the parachute upright, but she caught it on the way back down. I just thought that was really funny. Okay. So let's get to the math. You ready? What linear function can be used to find the parachutist's height in terms of x, which is the number of seconds since Walter threw the pillow? This is just a linear function, isn't it? For a linear function, we need two things. We need a slope and an intercept, right? Okay. So, do we know a slope? Do we know her rate of change? What is her rate of change? Yeah, it says right up here, right? 4.8 feet per second. Okay? But we also know she is... Wait, what's she doing? She's falling, right? She's falling at a constant rate of 4.8 feet per second. So her slope should be negative. So negative 4.8 feet per second, so negative 4.8x. And now what'd you say? What were you guys saying a minute ago? So when all this started, she was 40.6 feet above the ground. So what is that? Is that our intercept? 40.6 feet above the ground. Equals what? No, what'd you say? Okay. You were wrong. That's okay. You realized it. That's good. And so the first time I did this equation, I put a y. And then I realized that might mess me up. Why might that mess me up? Look at the other equation. What does it equal? H. So should I make this one equal to h as well? Are my two variables this time h and x? Is that allowed? Yes, we are. Any questions about how to get this equation? Okay. Treat these two functions as a system and solve it. How would you like to solve this system? Make them equal to each other. All right, let's do it. Negative 4.8x plus 40.6 equals negative 16x squared plus 40x plus 15. Excuse me. So we add 4.8 to both sides, 4.8x, excuse me. And we subtract 40.6 from both sides. So negative 16x squared plus 44.8x minus 25.6. Yes. How do we solve that? What kind of equation is it? Quadratic. So what are my choices on how to solve it? Graphing, factoring, or quadratic formula? Probably quadratic formula. Okay. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Sorry about this ugliness of this 6. Okay, so I didn't try to mince anything, didn't try to simplify anything or anything like that. I just put it straight into my calculator. Negative 44.8 plus all of that stuff, and then negative 44.8 minus all of that stuff. And I got x equals 0.8, God bless you, and x equals 2. So what am I forgetting? A lot. You're rude. What am I forgetting? The y. Okay. How am I going to get my y? Wait, do I even have any y's? I'm trying to find my h, right? Okay. Which is being like a placeholder for my y this time. We're talking about height, so we call it specifically h. Okay. So if I know x, how can I find h? Go back to the original one, like right here. And you totally could, right? I would probably go here. Why would I go here? It's easier. But we know, because of what we know about systems, it doesn't matter which one I plug it into because I should get the same answer. So is there any reason I shouldn't choose the easier one? No, I totally should, right? So if I have one of my values as x equals 0.8, What's my h going to be if I use 0.8? Negative 4.8 times 0.8 plus 40.6. $36.76. What if I plug in a 2? So if x is 2, then h is 31. Now, a really important problem for today, really important question for today is the rest of number 2. What do the intersection points mean in the context of this problem? What does that mean? At 0.8 seconds, they were 36.76 feet from the ground, right? So can I, instead of writing as a sentence this time, which is what we usually do, and that's great, can we label our diagram instead? Our amazingly drawn diagram? Okay? So what is that point right there? Well, that's 0.8 seconds, isn't it? That's when the time is 0.8 seconds. And what is this height right here? 36.76 feet. So what's this right here? That is 2 seconds. And this height right here, that's 31 feet. Okay? Any questions? Now I know we normally write a sentence, but I'm hoping to help you see some different ways. And I figured labeling one of our diagrams would be a good way. Okay? How much time has passed between when the parachutist missed the pillow and when she caught the pillow? When did she miss the pillow? At 0.8. When did she catch the pillow? So how do we figure out how much time has passed? Absolutely. 2 minus 0.8 equals 1.2 seconds. Very good. So imagine how fast the pillow has been traveling if she misses it and then she catches it. And it had to go up and back down to where she is. It's like a super speedy, like a superhero pillow. It's like Pillow Man. Or something. How much time did the parachutist have to adjust the pillow between when she caught it and when she touched the ground? Look at our diagram. Where are we talking about? She caught it here, so we're talking about something about that. Where else are we talking about? The ground. So like here? Or are we talking about here? I'm talking about right here, right? How do I figure out when she touched the ground? That's amazing. Put 0 in for h and solve for x. Which h? The one with the linear function, right? Because remember, I drew this for you on purpose so you could see it's the line we're trying to follow. The parabola has stopped, hasn't it? The pillow's not traveling to the ground this way because she caught it. The pillow's now traveling with her, isn't it? Okay? So we're going to let h equal 0 in this situation. And 0 is going to equal negative 4.8x plus 40.6. So I can either add 4.8x to both sides or subtract 40.6. It won't matter. But then I need to divide both sides by 4.8. X equals Yeah, 8.46 seconds, right? Does that answer my question? No? What does it answer? That answers when she touches the ground, doesn't it? How long did she have to adjust the pillow between when she caught it and when she touched the ground? Yeah, when did she catch it? At 2 seconds. And she touched the ground at 8.46 seconds. So, yeah, absolutely. 8.46 minus 2. 6.46 seconds. Questions?